Hola, soy la abogada Brittany James y estoy aquí para contestar todas sus preguntas en relación de inmigración. Si tiene algunas preguntas para mí sobre inmigración, puede poner sus preguntas en los comentarios y puedo contestar más preguntas que puedo hoy. Recuerda que en este tipo de situación puedo contestar preguntas en general. Si quiere una opinión legal sobre su caso, sobre qué debe hacer en su situación de inmigración, debe llamarnos para programar una consulta conmigo. Nuestro número de teléfono es 772-539-8400. Pero si tiene algunas preguntas en general sobre inmigración, puede escribir sus preguntas y puedo tratar de contestar más preguntas que puedo aquí en vivo. Y puedo contestar preguntas en inglés o en español, en cualquier de los dos idiomas. Y puedo tratar de también contestar las preguntas en los dos idiomas, so todos entienden lo que estoy diciendo, ¿ok? Y voy a explicar eso también en inglés. So I'm immigration attorney Brittany James, and I can answer any questions that you have regarding immigration. But remember that in this type of situation on social media, I can only really answer general immigration questions. If you want a legal opinion regarding your situation and what you should do, then you should call my office and schedule a consultation with me where we can review all the details of your situation and we can speak privately regarding what my opinion is in your case and what you should do and how I can help you proceed in your immigration case. But for any general questions, you can write your questions here. I'm live right now on Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram. So you can type your question in the comments in any of those three places, and I can try to answer your questions with information regarding immigration. And again, I can answer questions either in English or Spanish. So you can write your questions in either of the two languages. And I will also try to give my responses in both languages so that everyone can understand. So again, any immigration questions that you have, you can write them in the comments in either English or Spanish, and I will answer as many of them as I can, okay? And while I am waiting for more questions, I want to go ahead and talk a little bit about some of the changes that we expect to see in a few weeks with the new administration when we have our new president. So obviously he has promised to make quite a few changes to immigration and hopefully roll back a lot of the negative changes that we've seen in the last few years. One thing that he has promised that he's going to change is Daca. I mean, of course, Daca is back for now, but he has promised that he's going to completely reinstate Daca so that hopefully we won't have to worry as much about the current court challenges that are going on. Obviously, Daca can still be challenged again, but hopefully things will be a little bit more secure after President Biden starts there. He's also promised to give more protections to people that currently have TPS and to not take TPS away from them, as Trump was trying to do. There's also been some talks, which we're not sure if it's going to happen yet or not, but there's been some talks about possibly new TPS for some countries. So we will have to wait and see what he does with regards to that. As far as whether there's going to be an immigration reform, hopefully there will be. Now, I'm a lot more optimistic after the elections last night. I don't know if many of you have been following the elections or not, but now that Democrats control the House, the Senate, and will now be controlling the presidency, it should be a lot easier for them to try to pass some type of immigration reform. I don't know how high on the priority list that's going to be, but hopefully that's something that will come at some point during his presidency, some type of significant immigration reform. We do expect, as there always is with a change in administration, that almost immediately, once the presidency changes, once Biden is inaugurated, there should be a pretty significant culture shift within all of the parts of immigration. So within the immigration court, within USCIS processing applications, within Border Patrol, within ICE, with regards to immigration enforcement. There should be a lot of changes coming. Even if the law does not change immediately, just that shift of culture should make a big difference on a lot of cases, because we did see a lot of negative impacts since Trump was elected, not only in terms of laws, but also in the culture, in the way that they're handling cases. So we're looking forward to all of those changes that will come soon, hopefully. All right, I have some questions here that I'm getting. I have a question from Zuri Mercado. Says, I have Daca right now, but I'm applying for my green card since I am married to a U.S. citizen. All right, well, that is great, Zuri. If you need help, if you need any advice with regards to how you're applying, what you qualify for, then feel free to call us and we can schedule a consultation and discuss the different options. All right, and Nada Shadid says, what's the difference that's happening with the naturalization exam? So the naturalization exam, they recently changed the requirements, and that change has already gone into effect. So based on the previous rules, you had to study 100 questions and answer at least 6 out of 10 questions correctly for the civics exam. Now, for people that are applying now, you will have to study at least 128 questions and answer at least 12 out of 20 questions correctly. So that applies for anyone who applied after, I believe it was December 1st was the change. But for anyone who filed prior to December, you would still be taking the exam based on the previous rules. That would only apply to newer applications. All right, and another question here, would you know if the Juarez embassy is continuing to process green card applications? Yes, they are. Right now, they are working on rescheduling the appointments that were canceled due to COVID. So we have been seeing, we had a couple appointments that were originally scheduled that were canceled due to COVID. And one of them, I believe, was scheduled for next week. And we just got another notice for an interview towards the end of February. So they're working on those first that were canceled, and then they'll continue working in order from where they were. I will say that in terms of processing times from the time that the case is ready and everything is in at the National Visa Center, prior to COVID even, it was taking about a year for them to schedule interviews. So we do expect quite a lengthy delay. So that means right now, I believe they're working on interviews for people that had everything in and were documentarily qualified with the National Visa Center since March of 2019. So I don't know how they're going to work through that backlog. If they have a plan, I would presume that they're probably not scheduling as many interviews on a daily basis because of COVID right now as well. So there is a pretty lengthy wait for interviews in Juarez. All right, and let's see what other questions there are. Karina is asking, she says, my friend misplaced her work permit and she will be renewing soon. What can she do? So she can still go ahead and file the renewal even if she misplaced her work permit. She can also, when someone loses a work authorization, they can also file for a replacement. But if she's going to be renewing soon anyway, then it may make more sense to just do the renewal and not be concerned about the replacement. But it all depends on how much time did she have left and when is she actually eligible to file the renewal. Okay. And FPC says, how long does it take to receive Daca? I submitted my application recently. So for new Daca applications, we don't know for sure because they just started accepting them again in December. I would say, you know, my best guess, I guess, based on experience, based on what they were doing before, based on the renewals, is that it would probably take somewhere around 6 months or so, possibly quicker than that. But it really just all depends on immigration. I cannot tell you for sure. I know renewals at one point were taking less than 30 days. while some were taking longer. And now I believe they're up more around 5 or 6 months for renewals on average. So I would presume the new applications will be similar. But unfortunately, I can't really give you much more information there. I'm not sure. And I don't think that they have posted processing times right now for new applications because it's so new. It's so recent that they started accepting new applications again. Okay. And I have another comment here from Rock on Mode. Says, I already have a case and I got this message on USCIS. The case was received at my local office. On December 22nd, 2009, we received your form I-130, petition for alien relative. So if the case was, based on this, I'm a little bit confused. So if the petition has been pending since 2009 and it was never approved, and now they're saying the case was received at the local office, then it means that they must have sent it to the local office for them to adjudicate the petition and either approve or deny or issue a request for evidence. Now, the fact that it's at the local office, it could mean that they have decided that they want to schedule an interview on the case for whatever reason. But I've also seen cases that are sent to the local office and that the local office makes the decision without ever calling anyone for an interview. So I can't tell you for sure what exactly is going on with your situation. Of course, if you wanted me to review your case and give you a better idea of what I think is going on, then you can always call us and schedule a consultation. I can review all the documents regarding your case, and I can give you a better idea of what the next steps will be. Okay, but based on that, it's hard to tell exactly what they're doing. I would need to know a lot more information. Okay. All right, and a question here from Sebastian. A family member was arrested by the DEA, wrong place at the wrong time. Could she apply for a green card? I would need to know a lot more information than that as far as what the charge was. I assume, since you're saying they were arrested by the DEA, that it's some type of drug charges. In most cases, someone with drug charges, unless it's a very small amount of marijuana, in most cases, they would not be eligible to apply for their residency under one of the normal methods, meaning applying through employment, applying through a direct petition from a family member. However, sometimes there are options under some of the more humanitarian options for immigration, especially, for example, for people that are victims of crime, victims of domestic violence, or victims of trafficking. So I would really need to talk to that person and do a full screening, a full consultation, and then we can see if we can find something that they can qualify for, because they may have options, but based on the information that you're telling me, I could not tell you yes or no. Okay. And yes, regarding how much the consultation is for, so we charge $200 for a consultation, and that includes first a full screening with my paralegal, where she will go through lots of questions to get all of your information about your immigration history, about your life, your employment history, and she helps type up all your answers to all the questions that I would have for you. And then I can review that prior to the appointment along with all of your documents. And then during our consultation together, we can really focus on any other questions that I have for you based on the documents, based on that information, and we can review what options I see for you. So if you want to schedule a consultation, then you can call our office. Our phone number is 772-539-8400. And we can go ahead and get an appointment set up for you, because I would love to work with any of you and see what we can do to help. All right, and let me see, I have some other questions here on TikTok. Can I still apply for Daca, from Ariana Barillo? So if you qualify for Daca, yes, they are accepting new Daca applications. I don't see anything else specific that you have asked. That's the only question that I see, so I don't see you giving me any other information. But yeah, as long as you meet all the requirements, then yes, you can apply for Daca. And just to review some of those requirements, and then I will also review them in Spanish. But for Daca, you have to show that you entered the United States prior to June 15th, 2007, and that on June 15th, 2012, that you were under 31 years of age. So you have to show that you were born after June 15th of 1981. You also have to show that at the time that you entered, which has to be again prior to June 15, 2007, that at the time of your entry that you were under 16 years of age, and that you've been continuously here since June 15, 2007, and that you either graduated from school or that you're currently enrolled in school. And that school enrollment could be enrolling in English classes. It could be enrolling in classes to prepare to take a GED exam. Those qualify as well. You don't have to show that you graduated from high school as long as you can show that you are currently registered in school. And then there are also certain restrictions when it comes to criminal records. You cannot have more than 3 non-significant misdemeanors, but as far as the misdemeanors, it does not count if it was just an offense, for example, for driving without a license. You can't have a significant misdemeanor, which they consider significant misdemeanors to be things like a DUI or a domestic violence charge, and you cannot have a felony on your record. Other than that, it does not make a difference if you've been ordered deported before. You're still eligible for Daca with the deportation, and as long as you can meet all those other requirements. And then para explicar eso en español también, la pregunta era sobre Daca, si puede aplicar, y también recibió una pregunta sobre qué tipo de documentos necesita. So, para revisar un poquito los requisitos de Daca, tiene que probar que nació después del 15 de junio de 1981, que entró al país antes de tener 16 años, también que entró al país antes del 15 de junio del año 2007 y que estuve aquí continuamente desde junio de 2007 hasta ahorita, y tiene que probar que es graduado de escuela o que ahorita está registrado en la escuela. Y la registración por la escuela ahorita puede ser que está registrado en clases de inglés o que está registrado en clases para estudiar por el examen de GED. Esas cosas califican. También hay ciertos crímenes que pueden causar problemas por Daca. So, por ejemplo, si tiene DUI, no puede calificar. También si tiene felonía, normalmente tampoco no califica. Pero si piensa que tiene todos los requisitos, si quiere confirmar o si quiere ayuda con la aplicación, puede llamarnos para programar la consulta y podemos revisar su caso y asegurar que califica y hablar sobre cómo podemos ayudar con el proceso. Pero también siempre por personas que tienen Daca o que están aplicando por Daca, siempre estamos también buscando otras soluciones. Porque Daca es algo muy bueno porque le dan protección de deportación y permiso de trabajo, pero no es algo permanente. So, siempre estamos también buscando una solución más permanente. Pero por personas que no tienen otras soluciones ahorita, sí, Daca es algo muy bueno. Okay, yo recomiendo que todos que califican sí debe aplicar para Daca. All right, and I have a question on Facebook from Sonia. Sonia says, my husband applied for citizenship in June and no response yet. His green card expires tomorrow. So as far as the processing time for the application, it's not unusual for it to be more than 6 months for citizenship to get scheduled for the citizenship exam. I believe the last interview that I had, it took about 9 months from the time that we filed up to the interview date, but it really varies. I've seen, so before COVID, I had some cases that only took about 3 months or so from the time of filing to get to an interview. I've seen other cases that have taken much longer. It also depends a lot on the local office based on where you live. So that is not unusual at all, especially with COVID, with the situation with the pandemic, because everything is behind right now because the local offices were closed for a while. As far as his green card expiring tomorrow, he can file for a renewal of his residency. But if he needs proof of his residency, he can also try to schedule an appointment with the local USCIS office and see if they will be willing to issue what's called an added stamp, which is temporary proof of his residency because of the fact that he's filed for citizenship and that's pending. I will say that there's been mixed responses from different immigration offices with this type of situation. I would say most of them probably would be willing to give him some type of temporary proof of his residency, given that he has a citizenship application pending. However, there's a chance that the local office could say no, that they want proof that he's actually filed the I-90 application for the renewal. But it's going to depend on the local office as far as whether they would be willing to give him some proof or not. All right, and Elvia says, La mejor abogada de Vero Beach. Happy New Year. Thank you, Elvia. I appreciate that. Happy New Year to you too, and to your husband as well. Thank you. All right, and Se Acevedo says, what are the 601A wait times? So what we have been seeing with regards to 601A processing times is around a year. However, I believe that they recently updated their processing times and have said that they're going faster now. So I'm going to look at this right now so that I can tell you what the posted processing times are, because I believe it's a little bit different than what we've been seeing recently. Yes. So for the Nebraska Service Center, for example, right now the posted processing times are 3 to 6 months. Recently, we have been seeing cases taking a lot longer than that, but I'm hopeful that because they've updated their processing times to say 3 to 6 months, that now the cases will start going faster. We have been, so one significant difference that this makes when they update these processing times is that the way that immigration works is once a case is outside of processing times, you can contact them and do what's called a service request, which sends an inquiry to the person who's working on the case and notifies them that it's outside of processing time. And when the posted processing times are a lot longer, you obviously have to wait a lot longer until you can file that case inquiry. But now that they have shortened the processing time significantly and it's showing 3 to 6 months, and it says the receipt date for a case inquiry is July 10th. So that means anyone who filed their I-601A provisional waiver prior to July 10th of 2020 can contact USCIS customer service and do a service request, which sometimes it does not help, but in many cases it helps to push the officer to go ahead and adjudicate the case and make a decision and either approve or deny the case. So if you did file prior to July 10th, then you can go ahead and contact USCIS to do that service request. All right, and I have another question here from Favor Olatunde. Says, can I apply for Daca if I haven't been in the U.S. since 2014? So if you mean that you're outside of the U.S. and you left in 2014, then no, you could not apply for Daca because you have to be in the U.S. to apply for Daca. You cannot apply from outside of the United States. All right, and Kimberly Aguilar asked, do I need to show my tax record for Daca? No, for a Daca application, they do not ask for copies of your tax returns. That's not necessary. You do have to show that you've been in the United States since June of 2007, and also that you entered prior to your 16th birthday. But it is not a requirement, at least not at this time, to show any proof of filing taxes or copies of your tax returns. All right, and Rosita says, I applied through my husband's citizenship, but it's been over a year. Rosita, I'm not sure what your question is. If you want to clarify your question a little bit more, then I can try to answer you. I'm not sure based on this if you're talking about that you applied for your residency, but it's been over a year, or if you've applied for your husband's citizenship and it's been over a year. So if you want to clarify, then I can explain a little bit more. But I would also need to know more things such as when you're if you are talking about applying for your residency, then how are you applying? Is it through adjustment of status here? Are you applying through consular processing? What method are you applying for? And then I could give you a little bit better of an idea about your situation. And again, just to remind everyone, in this type of situation, I can give general immigration advice. Any advice that I'm giving anyone or anything that I'm saying about these cases, cannot be construed as a legal opinion about your case. In order to really give someone a legal opinion, I always need to ask a lot more questions, verify a lot more information before I can really tell you what you can do in your case. And I know that that's a common misconception. I do have people call my office sometimes and say, well, I only have one question for the attorney. It's not going to take very long. Why do I have to pay a consultation fee? And it's because it's never one question. And even if you might think you have one question for that one question, sometimes I might have 20 or 30 questions for you before I can answer your one question, because there's a lot of details that go into this in deciding what's the best option for someone and what procedure they should take. So again, I can give general information that may help some of you understand immigration better, understand the immigration process better, but I cannot give you legal advice about what you should do in your case in this type of situation. Okay, and let me see, I have some questions on Facebook. Olivia Jaime says, my husband has been waiting for his appointment to Juarez for almost already a year and a half. Do you know how long more until they start sending out new interviews? So they are scheduling interviews now in Ciudad Juarez, but they're focusing first on the ones that were canceled because of the closures from the pandemic. So to give you an example, and if you're saying a year and a half, then you're probably talking about maybe June-ish, July of 2019. So prior to the pandemic, so the closures happened, say, maybe April of 2020. At that time, they were working on scheduling interviews for people that were what's called documentarily qualified with the National Visa Center, which means that they had everything needed for their case with the National Visa Center, and the National Visa Center said, yes, you are in line now for an interview. They were, at that time, they were scheduling people that were ready since around March of 2019. And now, those people that had been ready since March of 2019 that were scheduled and then canceled because of the pandemic, they're being rescheduled right now. So that's around where I believe that they're at based on what I know and based on what I've seen. So I can't tell you for sure how much longer it's going to be for your husband, but based on that, I'd say it would probably be at least a few more months. But we have to wait and see. I would presume that although Juarez is having interviews again, that they are probably having less interviews on a daily basis because of the COVID situation. So that could also slow things down even more than they were before. So I'm not sure what they're doing to take care of that, how they're going to address the backlog. But I would presume that it would probably still be at least a few more months. Okay. Okay, and then Viri Serrano was also asking around the same question. If someone's waiting for their appointment to Juarez interview, is there any date or how long the waiting time? Yeah, so we just have to wait and see. They are moving now, though, but they're working first on the appointments that were canceled. Okay, and I'm going to explain this then also in Spanish for everyone else that's watching that speaks Spanish. So la pregunta que estoy recibiendo realmente de dos personas aquí es sobre el consulado en Juárez y sobre cuándo ellos van a empezar a dar nuevas entrevistas, si están trabajando o no. Y ahorita si ellos están haciendo entrevistas ahorita, están programando primero las entrevistas por las personas que tenían su cita programado, pero los citas fueron cancelados por la situación de COVID. So, están primero haciendo esas entrevistas y después van a seguir adelante de ahí. Pero lo que nosotros visto de cuando ellos cerró la oficina en Juárez por la situación de la pandemia, ellos estuvieron trabajando en entrevistas por personas que tenían todo listo con la Centro Nacional de Visas desde como marzo del 2019. So, estuve tardando como un año por la entrevista. So, ahorita, porque están programando todo eso de nuevo, so, técnicamente todavía están trabajando en casos que estuvieron listos desde marzo de 2019. So, ellos van a seguir de ahí y no sabemos cuánto tiempo va a tardar por ellos programar los entrevistas, si ellos tienen un plan para tratar de hacer más entrevistas, pero tratar de hacer todos más rápido, pero me imagino que realmente por la situación de la pandemia, que probablemente están programando menos citas cada día, pero no tener tantas personas ahí. So, realmente no sabemos 100% ahorita cuánto tiempo va a tardar y tiene que esperar. Y Virna, yo veo que, oh, lo siento en inglés. Vera, I see that you're asking, is there a way that we can call? Are you referring to calling Ciudad Juarez, calling the embassy or the National Visa Center? Of course, if the case is still with the National Visa Center and has not been scheduled yet for an interview, there is a phone number for the National Visa Center if you look on their website or also on any of the paperwork that you have. But they will not be very helpful. They are basically just going to tell you that you need to wait for your turn in line. There are ways to ask for an expedited appointment, but they only do that in emergency circumstances. So depending on the details of your case, that may be an option for you. It may not be. Of course, if you want a second opinion about your situation, then you can call us, and I would be happy to review everything and to talk to you about whether there's maybe another solution other than waiting for the interview in Juarez. If the person is here, whether there's a possibility of actually filing for their adjustment of status here instead of leaving. But those are things that we can talk about during a consultation. I can see what I can do to help you. Okay, and let me see what other questions I have from TikTok and Instagram. All right, say Acevedo. C. Acevedo is asking, and after the 601A waiver is approved, what's the next step? So assuming that the 601A process and counselor processing is the correct process for you, then the next step after that would be completing some paperwork in the visa application with the National Visa Center, and then they would put you in line to schedule you for an interview at an embassy abroad. Now, I do always recommend anyone who has filed a 601A waiver or a petition or really any type of case, if you're filing it on your own, I highly recommend having a consultation with an attorney, even if the main purpose of the consultation is just to make sure that you are on the right process. I think it's a very good idea. Of course, I do recommend for most of these processes using an attorney to help you. But even at the very least, if you just want to make sure that you're on the right track, then I think it's a very good idea to have a consultation. I have seen people who have filed I-130 petitions, not really knowing what their next step should be. I've seen people filing 601A waivers and not realizing that actually they're eligible to adjust within the United States, or doing the 601A waiver process and not realizing that once they leave the US that they're not going to be allowed back in and that waiver is not going to help them. And those are things that a lot of people will not realize or understand until they meet with an attorney. Immigration is very complicated. And it's something that I definitely recommend consulting with an attorney, at least to make sure that you're on the right track before you make a big mistake, especially if your case involves possibly leaving the United States and getting stuck abroad. I am very careful when I recommend for people to leave the United States for an interview. I will never recommend that someone leaves for an interview abroad unless I think that they will definitely be coming back. Even if someone wanted to risk it, if I don't think that they're going to come back, then I normally will not take the case because I don't want that situation. Okay, of course, there's no case is ever 100% guaranteed, but it's something that you do want to be careful and make sure that you're on the right track and doing the right process. Okay. Okay, and C. Acevedo, I see your other comment here now that the 601A case that you have is in Nebraska, waiting since June of 2019, and you just went to fingerprints. So like I was explaining a few minutes ago, I don't know if you had heard or not, but the posted processing times right now for 601As are actually 3 to 6 months. So based on that, you can definitely call and do what's called a service request for a case inquiry to try to push your case along. But if you just went to fingerprints, then there could have been an issue too where for some reason they didn't schedule you right away, and now they finally realized it, so now they're processing your case. But it's hard to say for sure. Some cases sometimes get stuck for whatever reason, and I think sometimes it does have to do with the merits of the case and complications in the case, and other times I think it can be as simple as the person who was working on your case misplaced your file or went on vacation, and your file got stuck somewhere, and for that reason your case got delayed more than others. So it could be because there's some issue, but it also could be nothing related to your case. And like I said, what we have been seeing in our processing times was around a year or so anyway, before they made this change to state that their processing times are 3 to 6 months. But I have not seen 3 to 6 months lately. All right, and then I have a question here from Foxy. Is the consulate open in Mexico? Yes, the consulate is open. They are scheduling appointments first for everyone who was canceled due to the pandemic, and then they'll be continuing from there. All right, and a question from Mary Sol Guzmán. Tengo una pregunta. ¿Cuánto se demora la petición I-130 para mi esposo? So, eso depende de inmigración. En general, lo que yo he visto es que normalmente la I-130 para esposos de ciudadanos, por ejemplo, normalmente tarda más o menos un año. Por esposos de residentes es un poquito más. Pero reciente, creo que depende del caso. Hay unos casos que inmigración está procesando por papel y hay otros que ellos están procesando electrónicamente. Por los casos que ellos están haciendo electrónicamente, a veces están aprobados mucho más rápido. Yo he visto peticiones recientes que fueron aprobados en como 3 o 4 meses, cuando normalmente tardan más de un año. So, depende de cómo inmigración está procesando la aplicación. Y en relación de los siguientes procesos, después del I-130, todo depende en qué tipo de caso está haciendo. Okay. So debe hablar con un abogado, consultar con un abogado sobre su situación y cuál es el siguiente paso si usted no sabe de eso. Okay. All right, and I have another question here. Can someone who has Daca fly in the United States, and what is needed to travel? So yes, if you have Daca, then you can fly within the United States, and you would just need to have your driver's license, and then of course you should have your work permit with you just in case. But technically, when you're traveling within the United States, you're not having to go through immigration. You do have to be inspected by TSA, just like anyone else is, for security reasons. But they're generally just looking at your ID, so your driver's license, compared to your plane ticket, just to make sure that you are, the right person on the ticket. But I would recommend definitely having with you proof that you have DACA. Obviously, in any international airport, immigration is always there present. So there is always the possibility, the risk that you could be stopped by immigration and they could ask you for your documents. So I would definitely recommend having it. But I would not be, for someone that has DACA in general, I would not be concerned unless you have any other complications regarding your case, any reason that maybe since you were approved for DACA that you may not qualify for DACA anymore, and that there could be a risk coming into contact with immigration and they could discover that and try to take it away. But in general, I would normally not be concerned with someone with DACA flying within the United States. Now, as far as flying outside of the continental United States or flying to U.S. territories, I would not do it. I have heard of many people traveling to Puerto Rico thinking that, it's part of the U.S. because it's U.S. territory and that they don't need to worry about anything. And people have been apprehended by immigration in Puerto Rico. And even with DACA, I personally would not feel very comfortable with it. I don't know if every other attorney would have the same opinion, but I would not feel comfortable with it. As far as traveling within the continental United States, I would not be too concerned with DACA. So yes, domestic flights, in my opinion, are fine. All right, and Makeup Love 55 says, I'm a permanent resident. I lost my green card and wanted to travel. Should I apply for a travel document or wait until I get my citizenship, which is processing? So if you are a permanent resident and lost your green card and you want to travel, then you definitely would not want to travel without proof of your residency. But you can, especially since you have the pending application for citizenship, you can contact immigration and request what's called an InfoPass appointment, where you can request that they give you an added stamp, which is temporary evidence of your residency. Most immigration offices, I think, would probably do it for you, given that you have your citizenship application pending. Some offices could possibly say no, that they want proof that you have filed to replace your green card through an I-90 application, and that they want that receipt before they would give you temporary proof. But you can try it with proof that you have your citizenship application pending. And yeah, there's no issue with traveling in general while your citizenship application is pending, as long as you don't have any issues with a lot of travel outside of the United States since you become a resident. So for citizenship, you have to show that you've been in the US for at least half of the last 5 years, or 3 years if you're applying based on marriage to a US citizen, and that you've never been out of the United States during that time for more than 6 months and haven't abandoned your residency. So as long as you're not close to those, then travel would be okay. You just need proof of your residency in order to travel. All right, and if you married someone with Daca, is the process easier for citizenship? I'm not sure if I understand your question. If you're saying if someone that does not have any status in the United States, if they marry someone with Daca, whether it's easier, then not necessarily, only if the person with Daca also qualifies to apply for the residency. But if you want to clarify your question, then I can try to answer it for you. But based on what you wrote there, it's not completely clear to me what your question is. And just to say it again in both English and Spanish, so any questions that you have, you can write your general questions here in the comments here on TikTok, Facebook, or Instagram, and you can write your questions in either English or Spanish. But remember that in this type of situation, I can give general information, which is not legal advice. If you want a legal opinion regarding what you should do in your case, then you should call me, schedule a consultation, and I would be happy to meet with you privately and go over all of the details of your situation and really confirm what is the best option for you, and also how I can help you with applying for your residency or your citizenship, and help support you through the process. But in this situation, I can't really give you a legal opinion regarding what to do, because in order for me to give a legal opinion, I have to ask a lot more questions. I need to know a lot more information than what you can give me in this type of situation. So if you want to have a legal opinion on your case, then you would need to call me and schedule a consultation. Again, our phone number is 772-539-8400. And I'm going to explain this in Spanish as well. So lo que estuve explicando de nuevo es que recuerda que en ese tipo de situación puedo contestar preguntas sobre inmigración en general. Si quiere una opinión legal sobre qué debe hacer en su caso, tiene que llamarnos para programar una consulta conmigo, donde podemos revisar toda su situación y puedo dar sus opciones de qué puede hacer y también cómo yo puedo ayudar con su caso. Bien, si quiere programar una consulta, puede llamarnos a 772-539-8400. Y también si mi oficina está en Vero Beach, Florida, pero porque inmigración es federal y yo soy una abogada de inmigración, yo puedo representar clientes en relación de inmigración en todos los estados. Y técnicamente también personas que están afuera del país, que están aplicando para venir aquí a los Estados Unidos. So no importa dónde vives, podemos ayudar, y nosotros tenemos clientes en diferentes países, en diferentes estados, porque especialmente con la tecnología podemos hacer consultas por teléfono, consultas por video, y También podemos comunicar por correo electrónico, por correo. Hay muchas maneras que podemos ayudar, no importa si está aquí en Florida o si está en otro estado. Y técnicamente ahorita también por la situación de la pandemia, estamos haciendo la mayoría de las consultas por video y por teléfono, ¿sí? Para tener cuidado con la situación, ¿sí? Pero si tienen preguntas en general, sí, siempre puede escribir sus preguntas cuando estoy en vivo y puedo contestar sus preguntas en vivo para todos. Pero si quiere hablar conmigo en una situación más confidencial, en privado, y si quiere una opinión legal sobre su situación, tiene que llamarnos para programar una consulta conmigo. Okay. Um, All right, and now I see the other question here. My husband has Daca. Is the process going to be easier to become a citizen? Uh, so if you are a citizen or a resident and your husband has Daca and you're referring to whether the process is going to be easier for him to become a citizen, it could, but it depends on his situation. One major benefit of someone having Daca, I mean, there's a few different things. One thing would be if he only entered the United States one time, and if he has had Daca before he was 18 and 6 months, then he could possibly apply for his residency through consular processing without needing a waiver of inadmissibility, without needing the 601A waiver that a lot of people are always talking about. Another option could be if he has Daca and can qualify for advanced parole, then he may be able to travel on advanced parole and come back in and apply for his residency. And those two things are assuming that he entered without inspection. If he entered with inspection legally, then really the Daca doesn't make a huge difference in most cases for him. Of course, we also don't know if, especially given the new changes that will be coming with the new administration, and also now that we have found out that the Democrats are going to have a majority in the Senate, there's also a good chance that we might have some type of immigration reform coming. And I would think that in any immigration reform, they will probably try to do something for people with DACA and possibly a path to residency and path to citizenship. But of course, it's speculation. We will have to wait and see. But I'm definitely a lot more optimistic now that we won these Senate elections in Georgia. So that could help things a lot. But as far as whether DACA makes it easier for him or not, yeah, I would really need to know a little bit more about his situation. So of course, if you want to have a consultation with me where we can go over all the details of his case, then you can call us at 772-539-8400 and schedule a consultation with me, and we can go over all of the details of his case and talk about the best options. And I just realized I believe that my phone number is normally showing on TikTok and Instagram, and I believe that it was not there, so I'm fixing this now so that my phone number is there. But again, the phone number is 772-539-8400. Okay, y tengo una pregunta aquí de El Negro en Instagram. ¿De qué tiempo está durando el proceso para obtener la residencia de un inmigrante que se casó con una ciudadana? Eso depende en qué tipo de forma está aplicando. Si está aplicando por la residencia aquí, dentro del país, porque la persona entró legalmente, o la persona tenía una petición antes del 30 de abril de 2001 y está aplicando aquí, depende en su oficina local. Lo que yo he visto aquí, donde yo estoy, es que en general normalmente tarda más o menos como un año o a veces más rápido, pero depende en su oficina donde está. Yo he visto situaciones donde estuve tardando más o menos como 6 meses, pero también hay unas oficinas de inmigración que tardan más de 2 años. Pero si la persona está tiene que aplicar por un perdón y tiene que salir al país para hacer su caso, también depende de qué país es la persona, pero a ver en qué consulado va a tener sus citas, o por ejemplo, por personas de México, si tiene que hacer el proceso del perdón provisional y una cita en México, tarda primero como 1 año por la petición, como otro año por el perdón, y probablemente ahorita más de 1 año, quizás hasta 2 años, hasta que tiene la cita en Juarez. O puede tardar entre como 3 a 4 años, pero todo depende en su caso, en cómo está aplicando. También a veces hay situaciones donde también puede aplicar aquí sin la petición de la esposa y hacer la residencia aquí. So, eso también sería otra opción, pero depende de su situación. Ok, so, si quiere consultar sobre eso en más detalle, puede llamarnos y podemos tener una consulta para revisar todos los detalles y puedo decir exactamente cuáles son las opciones y cuánto tiempo va a tardar y también los gastos involucrados de inmigración y también honorarios de nosotros si vamos a ayudar con el proceso. Ok. All right, and I see this question here. I applied for my citizenship a while ago, and it says invalid date application being reviewed. Can it get declined for this reason? So that is something, I assume that you're referring to some type of a note on the USCIS case status online. That is something that I have not seen before. And it could be because, we haven't filed with an invalid date. I'm not sure exactly what they're referring to. I don't know if when they say invalid date application being reviewed, it could be something related to an error that one of their contractors made when they were putting the case into the system. I don't know also if it could be referring to the fact that maybe the case was filed too early prior to qualifying under either the 5 years or the 3 years. So I am not sure. I could not tell you if it could get declined for that reason because I don't know exactly what they're referring to. But if you want to schedule a consultation and review everything, then I would be happy to take a look at your application, take a look at the requirements, and review what it is that you're referring to that says this so that I could give you a better answer and advice regarding what you should do. And as far as the cost for the consultation, so yes, we charge $200 for the consultation, which usually includes 2 appointments, one screening with my paralegal where she'll ask you a lot of questions and help you basically fill out a questionnaire that I need for the consultation. And then prior to the consultation, I would review all of those notes and also review any documents that you send me ahead of time. And then that way, during the consultation, we can really focus on any clarifying questions that I have and any questions that I have based on the documents. And then we can review your options and what I can do to help you. Okay, so if you want to schedule a consultation with me, then you can call our office at 772-539-8400. All right, and I have a question here on Facebook from Ivan Gallegos. I have Daca and applied for adjustment of status, but unfortunately got denied. And the letter said I must exit the country. Does this mean my Daca is no longer valid? So no, if you have Daca and applied for adjustment of status and it was denied, that does not mean that your Daca gets taken away. In order for your Daca to be taken away, immigration would have to take separate action and send you a notification of revoking your Daca. And they normally would not do that just for having a denial on your application for adjustment of status unless there was something that they found in that application, some type of a criminal record or an issue that would make them think that you should no longer qualify for Daca. But if you do not already have an attorney, then you can send us copies of all your documents and call me and schedule a consultation. I would be happy to look at it and see if there's something that we can do to help you, if there's a possibility of filing a motion to reopen or an appeal, or if the best option is to refile, or if you really are not eligible for adjustment of status right now, what your options are. Okay. So if you want to do that, then go ahead and give us a call, and I would be happy to take a look at everything for you. But no, if you had Daca and it's still valid, then and they haven't sent you anything specific about your Daca, then you do not have to worry, Yvonne. Okay, I think that's gonna be everything for today. And all right, and Aldana Medina, I see your comment here that you need to call me for consultation regarding your mom. Yes, give us a call. I don't have anyone in the office answering the phones right now, but you can either call and leave a message and someone will call you back tomorrow, or if you want to call us anytime tomorrow, then we'll be in the office from at least from 8 to 5. Okay. And then you can also send me a message on TikTok or Facebook with your information and we'll contact you, or you can also send us a text message, and we can get text messages at the same office number, the 772-539-8400, and then we can call you back also. Okay. So yeah, so again, so that's going to be everything for tonight. I am always on live every Wednesday at 5 o'clock Eastern time. So you can always come on and ask me questions during my lives. Sometimes I'm live at other times as well, but always every Wednesday at 5 o'clock. And, but remember, if you want a legal opinion regarding what you should do in your case, then you really need to call me and schedule a consultation where we can go over all of your situation. I can also review any documents that you have, and I can give you a real legal opinion on what your options are and what we can do to help you. So if you want to schedule a consultation with me, again, our phone number is 772-539-8400. Para explicar en español, yo creo que eso va a ser todo para hoy. Pero siempre puede venir para verme en vivo en Facebook, TikTok e Instagram los miércoles a las 5 de la tarde. Pero si quiere programar una consulta conmigo, si quiere una opinión legal sobre su caso, debe llamarnos al 772-539-8400 y podemos ver qué podemos hacer para ayudarle. ¿Ok? So tenga buena noche y voy a ver ustedes la próxima semana, o si no, en una consulta privada conmigo, donde puedo ver qué puedo hacer por ustedes. Ok. Tenga buena noche. Bye-bye.